Hey, hey, welcome back to Don't Run with Scissors. I'm Kelly, your favorite Jeep driving lawyer, mom of twins, three crazy rescue dogs, and a rescue cat who loves to craft in her spare time. If you're new here, welcome to the crazy. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. It sends me a message. It boosts my serotonin and my self esteem, and I could use that. And if you are a returning friend, you already know the crazy you're in for. So grab your drinks, sit on back, and let's have at it. Okay. I just got back probably about an hour and a half ago from our Jeep Babes retreat. And clearly, I am being sent some messages because in the last 5 minutes, I've gotten the message not once, but twice. And so I'm going to share it with you. So, our whole theme this weekend was I am. Like, who am I at my core? And, like, am I carrying around old, like, rules that aren't serving me? um you know, the little nagging voice in the back of your head, like what's she saying, those kinds of things, right? And it's really easy to define the roles I play. I'm a lawyer, I'm a mom, I'm a Jeep driver, I have three dogs, all of that, right? I can list those so easily. But those are roles we play, right? They're not who we are at the end of the day, at our core. So we really talked about that. And I struggled with it. And I'm not like, that's not uncommon, right? Like, usually I'm one of those I tend to overthink things, right? I tend to overthink them because I don't want to get them wrong, which, how do you get that one wrong? Like, how do I screw up that question, right? And so then we had to, so anyways, the weekend progresses, and a lot of the things that I have as like rules for myself, like, if I'm not a size 5 or a 6, then I'm way too fat. If I'm not this, then I'm that. Like, if I'm never enough. And in reality, I am totally enough. And I can say that right now, but in a week, I can guarantee you that life forces will have happened and I will have lost that. And so I come home and I unpack, and I'm sitting here and I'm kind of bummed because my bag fell over in the car. So I'm 99% sure it's somewhere in my Jeep. And we had these little necklaces that had these words on them, right? Well, my necklace is missing and the third word is missing because I had three words. So my three words were protected and family. Um, and then my third word was enough. And I don't know where it is. So I was all kind of like in my feels and all that, right? And I'm like, okay, you know what? We're gonna just kind of get situated. It's not a big deal. It's got to be in the Jeep. Like, I know my purse fell, like my bag fell over. Blah blah blah. Right? It's not the end of the world. It's not like I can't probably find a whole bag of these little charms at like Michael's, right? Or Timu or whatever. It's not the end of the world. So I take a deep breath and I'm like, okay. And I turn on Flosstube because what else are you going to do as I'm kind of getting resituated? And I turn on Denise Morris, who is an absolute joy. She's with Black Ribbon Studio. And she's talking, she has this beautiful project bag that somebody made and gifted her. And, here, let me grab the correct phrase because I'm going to mess it up. But the phrase on the bag is, let me, peace begins the moment you stop trying to control what's not yours to carry. Ma'am, were you on the retreat with us? Because, yeah, Yeah. So then I finish her Flosstube, which is adorable. It's short. It's very short. It's only like 15 minutes long. And I go on, and I've started following this gentleman named Jonah. And Jonah is on my Instagram reels, and he's got like this question of the day that will change your life. And his question that I click on, which is not today's question, by the way, it's a past question that comes back up, is what are you carrying that doesn't really belong to you? Okay, okay. I get the point. I get the point, okay? I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Somebody remind me what it is next week because, ADHD. So, I had a wonderful weekend. There were 21 of us total, which is about a third of the size than last year. At first I was really kind of nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so small, like, blah, blah, blah. I honestly think in a lot of ways it made it better. We also had a Tai Chi instructor come out. She was fantastic. The first night I was standing during one of the sessions and flared up my back pretty bad. Like I wasn't sure I was going to walk up. My room was up on the second floor and there's no hotel. Like there's no elevator in this retreat center. Oh, please. Lizzie has something to say and I got to go figure it out. Okay. So I flared up my back something fierce. Wasn't sure I was even going to get up to my room that night. It was so bad. Took a lot of pain meds and did some things. So I wasn't sure I was even going to be able to handle Tai Chi. I actually did quite a bit of it. Some of it I had to do standing or sitting, and that's okay. That's okay. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know if it was the teacher. Oh, excuse me. I don't know, but I really enjoyed it. I was reminded afterwards when I was apologizing to the committee for not doing more that about 90% of the agenda for the weekend was my ideas. And that was the hardest part for everybody to come up with. And one of the things that we did was we brought a picture of us as a child. And I have my picture somewhere. And at first during that session we wrote a letter about like I don't know, does anybody else hear voices? Not like not like I'm, you know what I mean, like that inner critic voice. And so we were writing a letter about like what does the inner critic say? Like what are the things that we constantly hear? We may know better, like that's really not reality, right? But it still is something that our brain auto plays, right? So I write my letter. And then we partner up. And my friend Kat was with me. And so we partnered up. And the funny part about our letters are some parts were very similar. Which I guess in looking back, I'm not overly surprised about. But what's also interesting was like some of the things that I will say to her, I say with a different intention, with a different inflection. And she's like, the other thing is she's like, when you say it, you always add, so what can I do to help you? It's never just fix that shit. It's, okay, this might be broken, but what can I do to help you? to get it back on board, like back on track. Um, so then we read the letter of all that inner ugly voice to our photograph of us as a kid. I'm just telling you, we all were bawling. We were all bawling. We were like, first of all, we would never say stuff like this to our best friend or to some stranger that we just met. You wouldn't do it, right? Unless you were a little psychopath, and then I guess you might do it. But most people at least have a little bit of a filter, and we don't do that. Um, and at the end of the circle, that was the activity that everybody said was the most impactful. And that was my activity. And so that makes me feel really great on one level. It hurts my heart too that everybody's, in a lot of ways, everybody in that circle was facing the same things. They were a little different, don't get me wrong. It's not like we were all like, but it just goes to show, like, if you really sit down and take the time and say, okay, what is that inner critic saying? And where does that come from? Like, who taught us that? Like for me, it's not safe to just sit, to just rest. Resting, and I've said it here before, resting makes my skin crawl. I get anxious. I get, like, physically, I have a physical reaction to it. I struggle with that. And so we sort of unpacked it, and I've been unpacking it for a while. And it stems because I grew up in a household full of chaos, in a household full of abuse. And if you were sitting around, it left you vulnerable to being abused. But if you were outside playing, if you were outside doing, if you were outside working, if you were outside, you weren't available to get abused. So now I sit here and I'm like, no, I've got to be doing 100 different things, right? Like the other day, I'm filming Flosstube. I'm like doing stuff with you guys. I'm running and making 4 loaves of sourdough, and I've got this going, and I've got dinner going, and and it's no wonder that I'm physically exhausted. Like, and so that rule doesn't serve me. At one point, yeah. At one point, that rule was absolutely a valid rule. It kept me safe. It made sense. The problem is that I'm not that 12-year-old kid anymore. And I have my own house. And I get to decide who comes in my home for, 99.9% of the time. I make those decisions. So my house is safe. It may be a pigsty, but it's safe, right? I should be able to come home and just rest. And so we're going to start practicing that. We're going to start practicing it. We're going to start practicing taking a deep breath and just letting it hold its own. So, absolutely fantastic weekend. I cannot wait to see where we are in a year, because the Kelly that I was a year ago is different than the Kelly I am today. And the Kelly that I went into that retreat is totally different than the Kelly I went into this retreat. And I've already got ideas swirling in my brain for retreat ideas for next year. And I am just so blessed that I got to spend it with one of my best friends, with some of the same people. And I was a little nervous because some of the people that were coming, are former, like, of the 21 of us, the 20 people, 3 of them are clients or former clients. 3 or 4 of them. And so it was like, okay, like, how is that going to play out? Like, and I was a little nervous because I wasn't sure how my former client liked, because I couldn't remember how I left her case, if that makes sense. Like, I'm like, I don't know. It was so long ago. It feels like ancient times. But she was one of the first, like, her now husband was one of my first clients once I opened up as a complete solo. And I couldn't remember. And she came up to me today, and her and I talked, and she just gave me a big old hug. And, we were talking about You know, at our ages, you get to pick your own family. You can pick your own family. Your family doesn't have to be blood related. And I was sharing about, I call it affectionately the dead people box. Um, and I say that my grandmother's been gone for for quite some time now, right? The twins were 8 or 9, I think, when she passed. And we had started, she had dementia for quite some time before that, and we had gone through the old pictures. And so it's like some of the people were like grandparent age when she was going through the pictures as a great grandma, and she couldn't remember who they were. And so we all of those pictures went into a shoebox, and then we had a family reunion. And I said, well, bring the box of dead people. And my mom was like, oh my God, why would you call them? I'm like, none of those people are alive. At that point, my grandmother was in her late 80s, mid to late 80s. If those people you figure were in their 60s when she was a kid, they're dead. Let's just be honest, they're dead. So I affectionately call it the dead people box. My kids call it the dead people box. We take it to the reunion. Some people got identified. Some people we still have. So me being who I am, and to be funny, you know, when you go to like antique stores and you can buy like the antique pictures for like 10 cents or a quarter, they've gone up in price since that. Now they're like $1, $2. It's crazy. But you can buy new relatives. You realize this, right? Like, y'all can buy new relatives. So I would buy them. I make sure I put like a little pen mark on the back, so I know that they're ones that I have bought and just randomly thrown in the box. Ironically, some of the people that I've bought have been identified by other family members, which I think is absolutely hysterical. So I told people, I was like, you absolutely can buy new relatives. Just go to an antique store, buy new relatives. Nobody's gonna know. You can give them all sorts of crazy backstories. Nobody's gonna know. I think it's hysterical. Everybody was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. I was like, my kids think that half of my friends are actually their real aunts. I had to clarify. I'm like, you know, that's not like blood related. She's not blood related. She's just your aunt. And so, whatever. Pick your family. So there you go. There's my words of wisdom. Okay, so it's been a crazy week. It's going to be a crazy week. That is what life is about, right? I got some sweet stitchy kindness. I got this beautiful card from Colleen Lockaby, and it came at just the most perfect time. And so thank you. It's beautiful and I love it. And so yeah. Okay. So on the way to the retreat in Chesaning, Michigan is a cute. Oh, here we go. I knew I was up here. This is baby Kelly. I'm like 5 or 6 in this picture. Like itty bitty. She's so cute, isn't she? Can you see? Do I still look the same? I don't know. So that's baby Kelly, and baby Kelly is amazing. And so is adult Kelly. And if you don't think so, well, you're wrong, and you suck. And you're probably not watching my channel anyways. Okay, so there's a cute little quilt shop in Chesaning and Michigan, and I stopped there last year was when I found it. And here we go. There's the information. They actually have a retreat center as well that they own, and they host like workshops and stuff in right there in the town. So that's kind of cool. I've never been, but whatever. So I of course had to buy some fabric. So we got I love Michigan because I love Michigan. I actually do love Michigan. As much as I complain about the cold, I love that our state has 4 seasons. I love Michigan in the fall. The colors are spectacular. Michigan has a lot to offer. And so I do have kind of plans for this, but not really. I don't know, but I had to have it, and whatever. I always buy, when I'm out and about, I try to buy the kids' fabric that is to their liking. So I found this, obviously with the French horn. That had to come home for William and Bella. I'm a science girl. So my two big dogs are literally ricocheting from each other on the wall. Okay, so then they also had these, and I thought they were amazing. And I actually have to call them and order one because I was like, oh. And Bella said she'd like one, so I wasn't sure, so I didn't get her one. And then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get her one. She'll love it. And they were closed on the way back, so didn't get to get her one. So I'm going to order it. So, but I got one for Kay because Kay is generally cold. I think we're Michigan. And this is for Kay. I'm gonna put it on a sweatshirt. It's got like the different cities in Michigan on it, and I'm gonna like back it in the blue so it looks like Michigan is surrounded by the water. But they come already. First of all, they're laser cut, which is amazing. But then they also come with the steam-a-seam on it. So, it makes it a little easier. Now, the question I have is, am I going to hand stitch around it or zigzag around it with my machine? I feel like I would have better stitches if I hand stitch it, but I'm also concerned that it would I think it would last longer if I zigzag around it. So, and then Kat and I both picked the same color. And so I'm going to order a third one for Bella. And we'll be triplets. Let's see. And there's Michigan. Upper Peninsula. So I love that. I also have to get with Stephanie. Stephanie, if you're watching this and I have not reached out to you, please reach out to me. Bella has a sweatshirt she's outgrown, and it makes her very sad that she's outgrown it. And she would like me to have it just says animal lover, and it's got like a paw print on it, and I just need a new one. And I figure, with her new business, Crafty Chick, Stephanie the Crafty Chick, that she'd be the perfect person who could make me one. Okay. Oh, we got little jars full of affirmations. Love me a good mason jar. Pop. So, I'm trying to save them for like really crappy days. Because I know there'll be crappy days. I'm not stupid. Like, well, I know. Let me turn on my light. Okay. So, did I actually work while I was there? I actually did review a client case because it was time sensitive and I had to, but other than that, I did not. Okay, so so then we did a craft because it would not be a Kelly seminar if I didn't do a craft with everybody. So we got pillowcases, and you had to write on it all of the things you are. So, if you have words that you think that I probably should add to my pillowcase, please let me know. You can drop them down below. That's fine. Okay, so all right, let's get into what we stitched last week. We'll start with, I started something new. When we go to cross stitch retreats, we always try to take something you're going to finish there to be able to ring the bell, and then you take a new start, or you buy a new start. Well, I started finally Toes in the Water by Cherry Hill Stitchery, which I don't know that Cherry Hill Stitchery, I think she retired. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But I was able to kit it up with everything that I had already bought. The one, is it a Weeks Dye Works? I think it is. Gentle Art. I don't know. Hang on. It's a Weeks Dye Work. So I had the one Weeks Dye Work. But I was able to kit it up with everything that I already had at home. which made it even better. I am stitching it on 28 count flax casual linen. Flax casual linen. And that's how far I got already. So I have the words half done. And I absolutely love it. It's actually much brighter and vivid in person. That blue is just, it pops in person. It's so pretty. So pretty. So is it going to stay in my current rotation? Yes, because my Whipco numbers got called, and mine is to work on a small or ornament. And compared to everything else I'm stitching lately, this is small. This is 67 by 101. So that's going to stay in the rotation. I was also able this last week, to pick up the color I was missing for Dear Soldier. So we are doing our last week of pulse stitching. So I am hoping for sure to get the blue field in, and then this whatever else I can get in. But we did get the stripes finished, and we started putting in the soldier's face over here. So my goal, my hope is that this week I can actually finish this motif, right? The soldier and the eagle and the flag. That's the goal. That's the goal. I'd like to tell you that we're going to meet all our goals, but, well, life be life, and sometimes life's hard. Okay. I did not work on Alice this last week. I did work a bit more on Pandemic, I think. Did I? No, I did not. No. So I need to work on Pandemic today. So we'll set that in this pile. I worked on Quaker Flag, though, by the Vivsters. And we hit a huge, huge milestone. We now officially have the entire grid in. So now it's just filling in all of the motifs. So we are on track to still have this done by Labor Day. Atlas assures me if I keep going at the rate I'm going, it will get done. And we all know Atlas can't be wrong. Here she is. Here is the other piece that I have been spending many an hour on, and that is Lady Justice by Mirabilia. My beads came in. All of her back stitching except for the scales is done. I got in the couple stitches that I was missing up in her hair. I did her hand, but the scales, which is mostly beads, but it says sash. Holy Moses. And to answer your question, I know I was telling you guys last week, I wasn't sure if I was going to, I was off by one thread, and I was like, I did. I ripped it all out. I ripped all the way back to where I was missing the thread and restitched the entire upper sash. So she is. There is still a good possibility she will get done this week, and I'm going to count this week as the whole week as the last bit of June stitching. The other thing that I pulled out. Okay, so when I first got there, we had some free time too. That we weren't doing much, so I pulled out Jeep Van Gogh. I didn't get very far, and that's okay. Every little stitch. So my Jeep Club absolutely loves it, but here's the funnier part. As much as they love Jeep Van Gogh, one of the other cross stitchers was she had never seen Pattern Keeper before, and I keep Jeep Van Gogh is one of my many pieces that are on Pattern Keeper. And I was trying to show her different, how you can store different patterns. And she was like asking me some of the things I like to stitch, and I was like, I tend to stitch, I stitch very serious pieces, don't get me wrong, like, right? Like, obviously Lady Justice. But I also have a weird sense of humor and stitch things like Henrietta, which is really monkey on a throne. And my Jeep Club, the girls that were there that saw it, I had to stop several times to show new people Henrietta. They are dying for Henrietta to be done. So Henrietta may have to be pulled to the front for next year because can't disappoint my Jeep babes. But I got this whole section in. It's not like in the grand scheme of things, it ain't much, but it's the most stitches I put in it all year. So I'm pretty proud of that. And then, like I said, I worked on my new start, and tonight I'll work on Pandemic, at least for a little bit. And that is all of my stitching, my friends. Oh, I got another little duck. He's in a Jeep. And then I got another little duck that says, "You're ducking great. I know it, you know it. Tiny duck has your back, whatever you need to pick up." And in it, it says, "You are kind." So those will go in my Bucky's bucket of little mini ducks. So that is it. That is everything that has gone on lately. It was announced officially at the office that I have come on to the team, and that I will be handling the litigation for landlord tenants and a lot of the probate stuff. So it is official. And that by mid-June, KG Law will have its new home. Because we're going to move my office into his bigger office area. Thus saving lots of money. Well, so that's going to be coming up. We are digging myself out of the hole that got created by me being off work so much, dealing with Paul and then Nigel's death and everything. That's the other. I walked into Peachy last Monday for my back, and the receptionist there, I know that sounds really weird, that understand that I've been going to the same PT place since before COVID. The receptionist, I consider a friend. They check on us even when I wasn't like at PT, whatever. William would always let him know when his band concerts were. He started following, like, when you at least interact with somebody, all the regularly for years. Kevin had even come to band concerts for William and stuff, and just really one of the nicest people you will ever meet. So I walk in there and it's like celebration of life for him. And I was like, what the heck happened? And um, very similar to Paul, had a stroke, didn't realize it, went in to get checked. They were running tests, realized it was a little bit more intense than not. Kevin had been on dialysis for a couple years now, and they moved him from the little hospital here downtown, and he suffered another massive heart attack, and we lost him. And so that's my three as far as I'm concerned. At this point, if Jesus decides he's going to take somebody else out of my life anytime soon, he better let me have a say in it. Um, and some people might be a little scared about that power. But to say I was shocked, I think I spent the entire PT time just kind of going, I don't understand. And in tears. Um, because that was like a big old sucker punch. So, um, the other part of that, they have figured out what is going on with my back and my leg. Essentially, what has happened is my body has created so much inflammation in my lower back that there's so much swelling around the nerve bundle on L5 that, um, as a pain management doctor said, the bone is cutting into the nerve bundle. I can't have an ablation done again until August 14th. We can do it. That's the 6 month mark. So they're going to try and do epidural injections. So we're waiting to schedule that. If I don't generally turn to and get asked for random medical advice. I mean, I'll like, hey, how do you deal with sinus infections? Because we've got ear infections going again too. So, but if anybody has any ideas or suggestions on ways to reduce the inflammation, even just systemic inflammation in my body, I am open to the suggestions. That doesn't mean I'm going to take them. That means I'm going to listen to them and do what is best for my body, given everything. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So my so the other things that are going on, let's see, WIPGO goals got pulled for July. And for me, we're working on an ornament or a small, and we're supposed to complete a house project. By the way, Heidi, it's still on. It's still on. We might have left off on that for a while. So, um, so we'll be working on those. I don't know what house project I'm going to take on. God knows there's enough of them that there's no shortage. Um, the small I'm going to work on is Toes in the Sand. That does not mean that there won't be other smalls that I can't pull out, but right now that's the one either that or Alice, or maybe both, who knows. I am thinking that for July, I'm going to use the word Nigel, Nigel, to kind of theme my stitching around. So, um, let me, where, um, thank God for Atlas some days, although Atlas is kind of irritating me. Sometimes he gets a little confused. Okay. So we decided that for Nigel, for the end, I'm going to pull out the Noel mashup that I'm doing. It's the two lavender and laces that we're putting together. So Christmas in July. So we're doing Christmas in July, double dipping. We're fine with that. Um, I have a friend whose husband's name is Ian. Ian is in the Air Force, and I have had Ian's. I saw this really cool quilt. I was like, I want to make that, but I don't have anybody's uniforms that I can make that. And Heidi, who's Ian's wife, is actually my friend. She's the daughter of another friend of mine. Sent me a couple of Ian's. I have his BDUs in his jacket, his Air Force camo jacket. So we're making that memory. We're going to work on that. It should not be that hard. It's a square and square. Actually, it's not even a square and square. That's how simple it is. But that's what we're going to use for I. For G, we're going to work on the gingerbread strip club. Again, Christmas in July. We're double dipping. E is a new start. We're going to start working on my friend Ed's mom's portrait stitch, similar to what I did for Kay, with Kay and the picture of her and Dennis. And then L, of course, will be Lady Justice until she's finished. At which point then we'll stick in my long dog, which is Pandemic. And then of course we'll still have Quaker Flag in there. So oh, that was the other funny thing. So we go to the doctor and I'm working on Lady Justice, and the receptionist comes out and she goes, "Oh, what are you working?" She goes, "What are you knitting? What are you knitting?" And I thought she was talking to somebody else. And she goes, "Kelly, what are you knitting?" I go, "Oh, I'm not knitting. I'm cross stitching." And I show her the picture, and she's like, "Oh, she's beautiful." Okay, so I have my appointment. Bella has her appointment. I'm checking out, and the receptionist turns to the other receptionist, and she goes, "You should see her witch she's doing." And I'm not cross stitching a witch. And I go, "Witch?" She goes, "You know the thing you're doing?" And I go, "Oh no, it's Lady Justice." Um, I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. So there you go. So I'm gonna work on my witch. I'm gonna knit her. God help me. So that said, I'm gonna let you go because this is longer than I've done in a while, and I don't want to hit the hour mark. So we're gonna wrap this up, right? So remember, you are smart. You are beautiful. You are strong and brave. You are loved. You are needed, and you are wanted. And mostly, you matter. So with that, I love y'all. Please let me know if I can do something for you. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye, y'all.